Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was thought-provoking, disturbing, unsettling, rewarding even. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, amazing.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you. You know,
good.
we're like, you know, not a lot of people have seen the film, so we are
Oh,
still in the like, do you like it? Will anybody like it? Phase of,
No, it must be pretty nerve-wracking out of it, but I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of people are gonna resonate with it. So, Wiebke, I wanted to start with you. So the film feels very timely and relevant in its subject matter that it touches on. I'm curious how, generally speaking, how the idea for the film came about.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, films take years and years and years to develop, and then all of a sudden they feel timely. And sometimes it works out,
mhm.
and sometimes not so much. Unfortunately, this is a subject matter that's been timely for much too long. It originated. Where are you based?
I'm in Chicago.
You're in Chicago. So in Canada, we had a case, Jan Gomeshi. He was a CBC radio interviewer. He was very, very well known. And he was accused by several women over several years of sexual misconduct. And it was a very high profile case where his lawyer got him off. And the lawyer is a very beautiful, smart, intelligent, strong woman. And that sort of started to get me thinking about, why do female lawyers do that? Because it's not just her, and it's not based on her. It's,
Mhm.
Trump has female lawyers, Bill
Yeah, it's very
Cosby has
common.
female lawyers.
It's
It's
like a
very common.
strategy somehow.
Yeah, it must be part of the strategy. And
Mhm.
for me, I understand that women should do whatever job they want to do, and if they want to defend sexual predators, go ahead and do it. And they do have a right for defense, of course, also. But as a storyteller and as a filmmaker, I thought it would be an interesting starting point. What if you can't hide between the I'm just doing my job, if all of a sudden you have to deal with the consequences of your action? And so this is how this story involved.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's such an interesting entry point into the story, the gender dynamic you're talking about. Pascal, the movie poses a number of interesting questions, namely regarding Paul's culpability in the sexual assault, and kind of has the audience play detective a little bit as is going along, the little bits and pieces clued into the audience. What was your approach to playing a character whose internal perception of the only other character in the film essentially needs to change in such nuanced ways across the course of the runtime?
Well, hopefully her opinion changes during the film because the whole structure is based on that shift of feeling of point of view. But it's great that the film goes from her character goes from principles of law to feelings, to how does she really is transpersed by this danger, this potential danger, and probably what would happen 10 years ago. So I really like that, the fact that she was going to the from the head to the body, to the real feeling of the potential danger of that man. I wasn't sure on the first place because we live in this area, right, where everything is, or people, or those subjects, those issues are very sensible and
Sensitive,
sensitive.
sensitive.
Sorry, sensitive. So I really have to think about it before accepting the proposal from Vika to say, okay, I'm gonna embody that woman who's defending a sexual offender. So what does that mean? So I have a couple of lawyer friends, women, very brilliant women, and I asked them, so what's the goal? What's the purpose of what's the inner reflections on that? And it's always a principle of justice. Everybody has a right to be properly defended, and it's not a question of gender. But in our days, being a woman in that situation has another meaning, has another weight. It becomes political, and obviously with that proposal. It the paradigms are shifting, right?
The paradigms.
Uh, Paradigms. Thank
Paradigms.
you.
Paradigms.
Paradigm. And I
when the
had to work on
when the
my English.
German speaker
Of
corrects the
course.
French speaker on their English
Oh,
accent.
wait, all these accents going on. Anyway, so it was a good I thought it was really interesting to explore that shifting.
Yeah, and see that shift from her, like you said, her
Yeah.
mind to her heart, to her emotions.
Right.
Buka, I found the restraint that you had in the story to be really interesting as well. You don't give into this impulse of making it some kind of like breakneck pace survival thriller or throw in tons of like heightened story elements. You really keep it grounded and let the audience sit with these characters as we gradually come to terms with who they are. Was there any hesitance in having the film operate more as that kind of nuanced character study as opposed to a traditional thriller?
Great question. I mean, the thing is, I come from drama, and also to me, it was important that it feels real, that these people are real people. Because what I would love to achieve by the end of it, I want to entertain people. Okay, I want them to have an interesting time and watching this film, take them a place they wouldn't have gone on their own. Literally, they wouldn't go to the woods like that. But for me, the more real a character is, the more engaging it becomes. Hopefully, also in terms of starting a conversation and thinking about these questions, because I don't have the answers, and I don't think the film offers the answers to about justice and how justice can be, how women can get justice in a system that is very male dominated, and where two people, no witnesses, how are you going to judge? I mean,
Mm.
there's no easy answers to any of it, but I feel the conversation is important to have. So by making it more realistic, I feel it becomes more about those questions rather than about the fact of will they kill each other or who will survive, which,
The codes of the thriller, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so it's important for the story mechanics, but it's not the raison d'être for me, to make this film. And the other aspect, I don't know if I should say this, but the other aspect, of course, is we had a very minimal budget. I mean, you can only do so much thriller things. We couldn't climb. You know what I mean? There was like only so many stunts we could do. There was only so much time we could spend on really thrilling things. And
Mm.
and lastly, I really wanted to have the threat come from him and not the
Hmm.
outside world. Like I didn't want it to be wolves. That whole thing with the wolves is like he thinks that's the threat, and maybe the audience will think, but it's not the threat. Like bears are not the threat. The climate is not the threat. The potential threat is layered within the story, and to me that was an interesting way of getting into the story.
It's so interesting. As well as like I remember reading the log line and thinking this is going to play more like a survival thriller. They're going to have to face the elements and these animals and creatures, but it doesn't play like that. It's much more of a drama, like you said. So I really appreciated that element. Speaking of, I feel like the location is such a character unto itself. And
Yes.
I imagine it not only informed the story and your performance as well, but just like I guess filming on location poses a lot of challenges. I'm wondering for both of you what that experience was like.
For me, it was quite exquisite. It really gave a tone and a pace to the shoot. I mean, it was so calm and to and for me very beautiful to see the crew, moving with with the spots and the equipment into the woods, like we were like a tribe trying to get to some place, which is always the case, when you're making a movie. It's always a journey. You don't know exactly where you're going to end up, but in the forest it was, and oftenly by night also, so it really gave something very sensual to the actual making of the film, very instinctive, so it really fit the let's say the inner feeling of the
Right.
character. And
But
we were outdoor for a month and a half in the beautiful countries. So it was a very, very one of my best shoot ever as an
oh,
experience, as a, as a bounding. Everybody was, we were all together in that journey because it really felt like a journey.
yeah,
Not vacation because we were working hard, but it had this, like this soft and very agréable feeling.
yeah. I mean, it was very important. Like, obviously, nature is like the third character in this film. That's very, very important character in this film. So when we were location scouting, I wanted to really feel like it's as far away from civilization as possible. I didn't want it to feel specific, and a lot of Canadian films are shot in the Canadian Shield, so you get a very specific Canadian
Northern,
northern
mm,
landscape, whereas this one was shot in the eastern townships, more towards Maine, Vermont kind of area. So the forests are different and the greens are different, and there's like primeval kind of feel to it, and I really loved that and finding that. It was a very small budget, so it was a small crew. So when
mhm.
hiring, I said to every single person, you must like being in the nature.
That was the
Do
first.
not accept this job if you don't like nature. It is
Yeah,
not going to work out.
yeah. That was a prerequisite.
And in the end, everybody really loved being out there. We were lucky in that it really wasn't. It was one of the driest Septembers ever, so it didn't rain all that much.
We were
But
lucky.
you're very lucky, but it was definitely tough because everything had to be carried in, everything had to be carried out. Like, and nobody got hurt. It's a miracle that nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Pascale's like running over a wet brook in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's it! Like something is gonna happen," and nothing happened, thank God. But
No, we were well, yeah,
there was a lot of work
well
also.
protected.
Yes, there was
But,
a lot of
but
work.
also the fact that the nature is a character. In fact, so to be in it, to be lying down on the soil, to be in the moisture of the the moose, the shadow of the trees, the wind, all these elements are in the film. We see it, we feel it, but as actors we play with it. It's just parts
Right,
of the
right,
ambient music, let's say, of
right.
the of nature. So it's really it was, yeah, very great.
Yeah,
I
but
love how you both frame it as like a third character. I really feel like that in the movie, and it's so interesting that the tension on the screen juxtaposes like the intimacy. It sounds like it was a lovely shoot. I wanted to ask, so that there is this very, and I think one of you alluded to this earlier, this very unsettling sentiment in the film of like what is truth when there's just two witnesses, right? And I think that's so prevalent not only for the sexual assault at the crux of the story, but also what's happening with our two characters on screen. What is truth when there's just two people? So that was certainly a message that like I kept thinking about after the film. But I'm curious for both of you, what do you hope audiences come away with either thinking or feeling after experiencing your film?
well, me, if I can jump in, I mean, I just feel I wish people will think a bit more about how justice can be, how justice can, how women that experience sexual violence can find justice, and how can, is there a way, that we can frame it differently, and is there a way to believe women differently, and also, I guess on a broader level, I think all of our actions have consequences, and we have to think about it as human beings. Like it's not just a job, like there is consequences. Whatever your job is, whatever you do, whatever. I mean, especially in the times right now, right? Like whatever choices you make in terms of climate change or the political situation or whatnot. These choices that we make as individuals do have consequences, and if somebody, if the audience, if viewers can just reflect upon that a little bit, that would be make me very happy.
Mm. Yeah, I would add to that. You said that before about the storytelling, So there's no such thing as truth, right? And we are in an era where truth is just doesn't exist anymore. It's about storytelling and who tells the better story.
Yeah,
So that's a big questioning that we can have right now about
yeah,
is there going to be such a thing, the
Mm.
truth,
right.
and where the door does truth sits, where does it lie? And in today's world, so it's about the power of the story, right? Who's going to be the strongest storyteller? We have examples, all
Right.
around. So it's a huge challenge. So it has to, yeah, I don't know. We have to question ourselves to start with,
Right.
and how society is going to bounce on those new coming issues,
Yeah. Well, this new reality. I
new
mean,
realities.
it's like, what's the
Yeah.
truth? Yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's such a great metric of a movie, at least for me, when afterward I'm constantly talking about it with the person who I watch it with, or keep thinking about it. And that was this case where we were
Oh
just,
wow,
yeah,
that
it,
that
it just
Oh
led
my
that's
to
a
so much
God.
crime.
rich discussion. So I really hope, and I think that this film will generate a lot of discussion when people get their eyes on it. So